Hello fellow humans and welcome to another episode of Your Replays, and this time we're starting with the Foch 155. It did get changed quite a while ago at this point, where they turned it into an actual autoloader with 3.8 seconds intra-clip reload, and they also kind of ruined the single shot gun. So now pretty much you've got the autoloader, that's what makes it special. Other than that, yeah, they got nothing. It's got 2 shells, it has solid alpha damage-ish, but all in all, it doesn't really excite me as a vehicle. There are better tank destroyers out there that can be used more usefully, especially also because the traverse angle in this vehicle are absolutely horrible. You can't turn it left, you can't turn it right, you can't get it up, you can't get it down. It's just stuck in place, and that's not really what you want to have. Look at those horrible angles that you have to deal with, and that's also a problem because obviously it's a tank destroyer, and you don't have a turret, which means if you have that narrow angles, you have to move the hull, and if that happens, your camo rating significantly drops, because if you use your camo, or if you move, then you have your movement camo rating happening, and it's not a light tank, so it's gonna significantly decrease. So it's obviously a big downside of a tank like this, which is why I'm not a big fan of, well, tank destroyers in general. This is one of the very few great camping spots that are in Blitz that are truly useful in a lot of cases. There's hundreds of camping spots in the entirety of Blitz, but very few of them are actually continuously useful because it's a tank destroyer. You've got to shoot at stuff. Now, if you sit in a corner and you don't shoot at stuff, that's nothing really you're useful at. If a tank destroyer sits in a corner and does nothing, it's a useless tank. But it's even worse if a light tank does it, and that happens quite a lot, especially now. But that's what you get when the casuals take over, and the people that play the game have no clue what a tank even is. Now, that's perfectly fine, but that obviously does reduce the quality of gameplay quite significantly compared to if the people that are playing the game are sort of knowing what a tank is, at least at the minimum. Now, at the minimum, you could expect that your team is somewhat useful. Now, that's not the case here, unfortunately, as we're in a 2 versus 6 situation right here. And also, thank you for sending in the replay. If you want to send in your own replays, put them on my Discord server. Link to that is in the description. You put it there, I'll pick it if it's good enough and it's worth taking. And if you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, 2 versus 6. How do you approach this? The worst thing you want to have is you have multiple enemies at you at the same time. What you want is you want to fight 1v1s constantly. That's true not just for a situation like this, but that's true for any situation. You always want to be at the maximum fighting one tank at the same time. I mean, you can get cocky, try to fight multiple at the same time, but ideally you always want to have one target and one target to focus on, especially if you have a tank destroyer, because obviously you're limited straight forwards. You don't have a turret, so you can't really turn. And most of the tank destroyer armor as well is completely at the front, and for that matter, any tank, most of the armor is at the front. So you want to be able to point the front of your tank at the enemy. That's helpful. And what is also helpful is a team that just peeks into it. They're one shots. They don't have to peek here. They have high health teammates that can go forward and take the shots so that they can then approach again. But that doesn't happen. The one shots just peek straight into it. Now that grill, it's just, what is he doing? Like, he could have just pushed towards the Foch here, and the Foch couldn't have peeked up because the grill had him in his sights the entire time. So if the grill here at this point would have pushed the Foch, it would have been pretty much over. But because he refocused on the VK90, and that wasn't really a threat to the Foch took him out, and now it's a 2v2, which is still not won, obviously. Peter is going to have to try quite a lot harder to make that happen. And the big problem is the 2 remaining enemy tanks are auto-loaders and auto-reloaders in the CC's case, because the problem that causes is that obviously a regular single-shot gun, you're going to have to reload for quite a while if you fire it. Now, with an autoloader, you can shoot a lot more, so if you happen to bounce the first shell with the Foch could put 2 shells into the enemy, and then you're done with it. The problem is, with an autoloader, that doesn't work because it can fire again very quickly. And there's the 4005, and he's full HP as well. He's absolutely unaware of where the Foch is, and now he's going to use up the last HE round into the FV. And now, at this point, Where's the CC? Why hasn't he peeked around that corner yet? Why isn't he closing the distance, like scissoring from both sides? You know? Why isn't he doing that? Because now, the Foch is obviously busy with the FV. The FV is doing whatever that is. And the CC is nowhere to be seen. It would be very easy to do that, but he's still not seen anywhere. Obviously, it's a pretty damn slow tank, so you have to get moving. But nothing. Ain't anywhere. And there's still a chance to get this thing done. Now, the CC is obviously full HP, so it's pretty much almost impossible. But the CC does have a turret, but it's not fully traversable. So let's say you catch out his ass, you track him in the back, and now he can't turn on you. And you can sort of stick to his rear when he can't turn, which is hard, obviously, with the tank's drawer because you can't use a turret. You have to... You shoot where you drive. That's pretty much very hard to miss that. But... Again. But he has a third shell. He's got a third shell, and if he screws it up as well, the Foch has pretty much just won. But the CC thinks again, and he reverses. And now the Foch can reload. He's given the Foch the reload. The Foch can now kill the CC with those 2 shots. CC obviously only needs 1 shot, but how did you screw that up? But, yeah, now he just peeks forward, and unfortunately, the Foch misses this time, and he's now kind of exploding into pieces. There's a bit of a mistake that the Foch should have just driven down the hill there, but nonetheless, excellent replay, because like you elevated yourself a little bit there, so he had a better chance to shoot at the top of the tank. If you would have dropped down a little bit, the CC probably wouldn't have been able to shoot. But then again, you wouldn't have been able to shoot the CC because he was on higher ground and he has pretty good turret armor. So you couldn't have been playing it much better there. 8,000 damage with a team that did not show up. And quite frankly, things like this, they can make you mad. But there's no reason to, because if you look at this result screen, you did absolutely everything you could have. There is nothing you could have changed that would have resulted in a win for the most part. And this, just be happy. You did exactly amazingly. Your team disappointed you. Your team let you down. At the end of the day, it's a game. So if you did that well, it is a sad, sad heartbreak. But it is not as sad as the Chieftain's premium penetration. The only true weakness of the Chieftain Mark 6, and that is the appalling premium penetration of 310. Outside of that, you got excellent gun depression, you got pretty damn solid mobility, and you've got armor that, if you can use it, is also pretty damn good. Now, with using it, I mean, you wiggle this thing back and forth and try to hide the turret as much as possible. You have the problem of the cupola, but it's not really, like, massively high, so if you wiggle it back and forth and you keep going forward and sideways, then you can hide it pretty well. But the premium penetration is the big problem of this vehicle. And the enemy team has decided that they just don't really want to contest the important parts of the map, and that's the middle. Like, the middle, both from team to team and other side to other side, the middle is pretty much always the most important part, because that's where most of the maps are designed to fight. Right? Because if you're behind the middle and you give the enemy the middle, they have all the good positions, they have all the hold down spots, they have all the angles to shoot from. So that's the worst thing you can do, is to give up the middle and gift the enemy that massive, massive advantage. So don't do that. If you sit back, you lose. So what you can do, though, is you can take control of one side and then build on that control. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go back, unless in a very few cases like here where the 57 Heavy just peeks out straight. You don't want to go back, right? You want to go where you have the advantage. If you have 2 tanks on one side against 5 of their enemies, you don't support those 2 guys, right? You instead find the other 2 guys and get them first, because then you can trade them off properly. Because otherwise what's going to happen is there's 2v5, those 2 guys, they're going to die anyway, and then you go there. Now you're going to probably die too, and you might kill 1 or 2 of them, but they're still going to maintain the advantage for the entire time, and they're going to win. So you really don't want to bail out a disadvantage. You always want to keep using your advantage. Now, in this replay, I've obviously recorded this before, so I've sort of seen it, and I just love the target selection here. Just shoot at the Minotauro. You know, just always pick the target that's the easiest to shoot at. Again, here are the VK. Just wonderful target selection in this game by Fury. Here, the lack of the second R is important. But now, again, we're down 3 versus 4. That's not good. Luckily, that E75 has no interest in currently participating in the match. That 50, like, just look at that awareness. It is beautiful. Look at how he's looking around. He knows exactly where the 57 is. He just now turns around, and now the VK obviously just runs in. But what is he doing? He doesn't even bother shooting. He just waits half an hour and misses. Now he's going forward again because he sees the 57 heavy turning. This is just orgasmic gameplay right here. Like, if you get to this level of awareness, I don't know if it's accidental, but I hope it's on purpose. But if you get to this level of awareness, you've made it, right? If you know what's behind you, if you know what's on your side, if you know what's in front of you, you've got everything, right? That is the important stuff. Be aware of what is going on. Be aware of what teammates are useful. Be aware of what teammates aren't useful, or what enemies are dangerous and what enemies aren't dangerous. And now we've got a 2v2 at the end here with a T100 LT on our team with 300 hit points left, which is not great. But the E75 is just sitting there. He's not even attempting to angle, and the T100 sees the opportunity. Great gameplay by the T100 as well. You sees the opportunity, swoops around the back, gets the Minotauro done, gets the E75 done. And, oh, it's just this kind of awareness. Like, just looking back, 57 heavy, what is he looking at? What is he doing? Can I shoot the VK? Can I shoot the Minotauro? Stuff like that. And then the T100 also helping out with spotting. Okay, the Minotauro is looking there. I can attack from the back. That is just absolutely epic level awareness. And that is something that you should try to get to as well. Good luck with that. Thank you very much for watching, and see you for the next one. Goodbye.